In this video, I'm going to explain why stories are so important and then give you a clear 5-step process for telling a great story. There's also a free download at the end, which you can use to write your own stories. Telling and hearing stories is a fundamental human experience which dates back to the Neolithic times. It is a core part of our existence. As humans, we connect with stories on a level that cannot be achieved with facts alone. Steve Jobs once said, "The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller." The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. We've all got memories of a favourite school teacher or grandparent who could hold us spellbound with their stories. You may still remember some of them today. That's because you were gripped both by the story and by the way the person told it. Stories create deep emotional connections and so can be used very effectively in education and business communications. By using stories to communicate your message, your audience will be more interested in what you're saying and much more likely to engage with you. Great stories all share a common structure used by film writers, authors, and journalists alike. Let's take a look at that structure. Start with an attention-grabbing headline. First, you need to grab your audience's attention. If you can't do this in the first 5 to 10 seconds, they are unlikely to carry on watching. Research by Microsoft has found that the average human attention span is 8 seconds. So, what can you say in the first few seconds that is intriguing enough to grab someone's attention, whilst also being relevant? Think of it like a subject line of an email newsletter. If you just call it newsletter, then I probably won't open it. If it says, "You've won £1 million, I might open it, but I'll be disappointed when I realize it's a lie. But if you give me an intriguing headline that captures my attention, and then the content leads on from that headline, I'm ready to be hooked." Which leads us to the next step. Hook them in. So now you've caught the attention of your audience, but they still don't know exactly what the video will teach them. It's time to give them a full rundown of what's in the video, what they'll learn, and what outcomes they can expect. If they listen to the hook and decide it's not for them, then that's fine. What's important is you've made it clear from the outset what the video was all about. Anyone who continues watching past the hook wants what you've promised. So now we need to get into the main content of the video. Like all good content, it should start with an introduction. Introduce them to the topic. This is where you introduce the topic, give some background, and stress the importance of what you're about to tell them. Don't skimp on this section, and try to include some good quotes that support why this is such an important topic. Once you've introduced it, you can get stuck into the main event. Give them what you promised. This is where you need to deliver on your promises, where you provide your audience with the real value. This is what they signed up for. In this section, you need to teach, inspire, give tips, and impart your knowledge and your experience. To deliver this section well, you really need to step into the shoes of your audience and understand what they need to know. What advice will be most helpful for them, and what's the best way to present it? When you finish delivering your content, it's time to recap on what you've learned. Tell the audience what they've learned. Once you've completed the main section, it's important to recap with a quick reminder of how you've delivered the promises you made in the initial hook. This will also help your audience to remember what you've taught them so they can go back and put the knowledge into action. Finally, you need a takeaway. This is the last step in the process and is where you should give some actionable steps that the audience can take after watching your video. This could be to practice techniques that you've discussed, a task they can complete, a discussion to engage in, or simply to request a like or a comment on your video. Having a free download after each video helps to encourage follow-up action. Downloading a free guide is an easy step for the viewer to take. Doing so means the person has already invested time and energy into following up and so becomes much more likely to engage further. So, there we have it. In this video, you've learned why storytelling is so important to engaging your audience. We also ran through all the steps to crafting a good story, grabbing people's attention, hooking them in, introducing the topic, and then delivering what you've promised with valuable, relevant information that your audience can go away and put into action. To help you perfect your storytelling technique, there is also a free 5-step storytelling workbook for you to download. One thing you'll notice about the workbook is that it asks you to create the ending first. This is really important because it forces you to think upfront about what you want your audience to take away. Once you know this, then you can work backwards to achieve it. And that's it for this lesson. Please go ahead and download the workbook and practice the technique. I promise you, once you've followed the process once or twice, you'll never look back.